Calvin T. Mann, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIYTV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
What up?
What up? It's just me alone again. The chair is empty. Voila. and so today we gonna talk about sports and family, because I know today we want to talk sports and family. So let's be clear, it's going down, right? And I want it to be known that I want it to be known that this is what we're doing, right? This is what we're doing, sports and family. I got a vision, and some of y'all are a part of that vision. All right? But first, I want to get off into talking about them Lions. And I'm going to tell you, I'm still not buying the Kool-Aid, but this is the most talent I've seen them boys ever have. And I got to give it up. I got to give it up to my man. Got to give it up to him. Today we talking sports with Lions and family. And I'm going to make it clear. This is a good ingredient. Right? This is a good ingredient. So I got to make sure I put this in the right group. Make sure I put it in the right. So let's start here. All right, because I don't want it to. We're going to start right there. Good fathers only. So here we are. It's Monday, October 16th. First of all, let's kick it off. Remember, there's nothing you can't do, right? Nothing. There's nothing you can't do. But I'm going to kick this off today first with the family. Shout out to the men in 1995 who went to the Million Man March. Today is the anniversary of the Million Man March. One of my brothers out of Milwaukee sent out a reminder to us men that today we must celebrate for those of us who are here to the call to make a difference in the community. And I'm going to give my brief Million Man story because it's absolutely hilarious. And there are some people out there that that literally went with me, right? One of my brothers passed on, right? And I'm gonna say this. I was working at Northwest Airlines. This is a true story, Monique. So we was working at Northwest Airlines. It was my man, Mike Paul, myself, Vern, Carlton, Heavy. Two of them have passed on. And we decided that day, Northwest was flying people out. So here we are in the terminal, getting ready to get on the flight when Northwest canceled all flights to D.C. Wow. That was it. The last flight flew out. We was sitting there, and Northwest canceled all the flights. No more flights was going to D.C. None. And so with those flights going out to D.C., it was just weird that we were standing right there at the gate with nowhere to go, knowing that this flight, right, was going out to D.C. for us to go to Million Man March. Again, welcome to the EMIYTV Podcast, Put Your Family First podcast. And we are in the middle of sharing the story of our beloved story of the Million Man March. So happy anniversary to the man. So as we were standing in the, it was crazy. we were standing in right there at the gate when it came down, and I mean, like, we ready to put the ticket, everything. And Northwest put the call over the radio, no more flights to DC. And so at that point, I was mad, right? We were mad. We was like, what we gonna do? So we were in the old terminal at this time. And I tell you, we went over, jumped on a plane from Continental, flew into New Jersey. When we got to New Jersey on the Continental flight, it was 2 twin sisters at the counter. Now we looking as to who, what, when, where, why, how we gonna get there. All right, so now we're in New Jersey. Maybe we'll take a car. Maybe we was gonna rent a car, but we was getting to that Million Man March. And it was 2 sisters. They was twins working at the counter. And they did everything to make sure that we got to the Million Man March. So Continental flew us in. And when we got off that flight, we hit and we came right up off the train. We came right up by the monument.
Wow.
So when we came up, we literally walked out in the middle of the Million Man March.
Get out of here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And what was incredible, right, that I say, people don't believe this, but it was a lot of diversity back where we was at.
Really?
Yeah. It was a lot of diversity back there where we was at. Because we was going, it's a lot of black people. It was a lot of stuff going on, but it was a lot of people that was there. And I remember saying to myself, this is just like another preacher sermon, right? Well, what were we going to do, right? So we all signed each other's shirts and everything. I still got my Million Man March t-shirts.
Wow.
Yep. And we laughed. I'm talking about we laughed about it because we was trying to figure out how the hell we was going to get home. We laughed like, how are we going to get home? And so we did. All right. We did. And it was awesome. Right? It was awesome. And truthfully, it was life-changing for me. It was life-changing for me and for some other people that was there with us. We seen a few co-workers, but I'm still at it. And you're talking 1995, I was still coaching high school basketball and doing my thing, but that day was significant. So, sports, right? We're talking sports. Of course, I got in the building the Win As One hoodie, right? We gonna take the city by storm with this one. If you don't have this, look at that boy. If you don't have this boy, right? Encourage me, I'm young, so I give you an idea about who we are. Emmy Apparel was launched by laying shirts where kids were being killed, right? Emmy, the perspective was to change the negative environment. So everything you see under Emmy Apparel, if you go to EMIYTV.com, it's all positive, and it's family phrases, is sports phrases, is everything for us to come together. In 2016, me and a friend of mine, we launched Win As One. My boy Keith, we launched Win As One, and we put it out, and the Lions and a few other people, but we didn't have the marketplace. Like, I didn't have a website for Emmy. I was selling stuff out the trunk, everything, right? Going to events, going to the Full Gospel Baptist, selling stuff. But I didn't, at this particular point, we didn't have a connection. So we got to the Lions, several Lions, and just like with our Humble and Hungry, and Dominic and Sue mentioned our Humble and Hungry on CBS, all right? So Win As One this is a little history in sports. When as one was on the Lions the same year, 2016, Lions had to come back here. Lions went to the playoffs, right? So every time the Lions had some of my gear or anybody had my gear, it was a chance that they would be going to a championship game, right? So in 2009, because a lot of people don't know this, in 2009, I get a call, Michigan State. At that time, my cousin was associate, he was coaching at Michigan State. They wanted to do something because that summer I was in Tom Izzo's basement, right? And we was invited for a barbecue. And the Emmy was on Larry Foote, who is now the defensive coordinator at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was doing a show on NFL Network in my Encourage Me, I'm Young.
Wow.
Right? With one of my quotes. Right? And in that process, again, we kept going. So Emmy had been on Ron's House, NFL Network, MTV. So anything you see come from us, it's going to be family. It's going to be positive. It's going to be encouraging. That's what Emmy Apparel is all about. So this piece, again, is attached to sports, life, families, homes. But more importantly, I wanted this design to bring us closer together. And so we went through a number of people to design it the way we really wanted to get the design right. We spent a lot of time making sure that this design got right? Because I had approached a company to partner with another design that was similar, and at the last minute they said no. And so with that being the case, this piece, I pulled this out the archives, and this Win As One Detroit, I originally designed it to bring our talent home. This is why I launched it in 2016, because Detroit has some very powerful people all over the country, but they don't come home because we told them to leave and not come back. And they could be part of the shift, the change that is happening right here in our backyard, and can make a difference. So Win As One Detroit, my goal is to put it on people in Atlanta, people in Texas, people, right? So everybody across the country, we can align as one, right? So that's just part of our idea and concept to unite, right? The other part is the meaning, which is such a powerful thing. On the back, it displays why, right? And the rope represents the ties that binds us. The chain represents our uncommon unity, and the steel represents what it's going to take to rebuild our city, right? And we are excited to say there are some things that's happening around this product that we hope to finalize where to be, right, close to the stadium. So that's it. Now to the sports, right? Because again, that was just a small overview about what Emmy Apparel is about. Emmy Apparel, again, has been in 7 countries: Germany, Mexico, 3 times in Africa, India. People have brought it in that way. We've even did a football team in Germany, right? So we recently just released a beautiful video commercial in partnership with Hamtramck High, right? So it was beautiful, right? It's a nice video. I don't know if we got it uploaded, but it's a nice video. If we can get that video uploaded, can we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me, what do I need to do? Send it to you?
You know what? Yes, let me see if I can. I may not be able to, because you can airdrop it to me, but I may not be able to do it until next week. Okay. Yeah, just airdrop it to me. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, let me see. Where is it at? Oh, I was going to send it from you from Instagram. Right. Instagram won't let you airdrop it, though. So I'm going to have to text it.
Okay.
Okay, so with that being said, sports. I got to say, put your number there.
Okay.
So the Lions. Now, you know, in the past I wrote them, right? I was big on you know, I'm a big Caldwell guy, right? Caldwell brought to the city some wins. He brought libraries. Caldwell bought some stability, some action, shook up the game. He just didn't have his GM. Had the GM not had an ulterior motive in milking the Lions, they milked the Lions. Them boys that they brought in here from New England milked the Lions. They got off with a boatload of money for nothing. They had no intention. You could tell from the word go that them guys was not sincere about winning or even being on the page with Caldwell, right? I have a right to bring, I remember the guy said, I have a right to bring in my guy. That guy is a bum. You hear me? He was a bum coach. Patricia. So he come in, right? They come in after they hired him, after he got blowed out in the Super Bowl. So they passed on other coaches when they could have just seen that and invested better selection of picks and listened to Caldwell, right, in the draft. But they wouldn't. Caldwell had done some things that a lot of people didn't pay attention. Caldwell took free agents and made them NFL players that were sitting on the sideline, and they're still in the NFL. He had a family atmosphere. He brought back to the Lions all their former players. So the atmosphere around Detroit had got swole. And then they hired them guys, and them boys turned into instant bums. Like, they was getting guys that was quality picks that was doing, suddenly they gone. They was getting out of here. They jumped, oh man, and you could see it in their reaction that these guys wasn't sincere. They was just coming to milk the Lions. So after a few years of that abysmal display in sports, right, including, I mean, like the Tigers did it. You got rid of Dombrowski and hired a bum, and the Tigers couldn't keep up. If Dombrowski's still here, you still going to championships. He had a formula everywhere he went. He was going to the World Series. He came here. We went to the World Series, right? But the ego, they couldn't handle the ego and the money and the process. They didn't want to win, keep winning. So, like here, they take advantage of the fans. So, the baseball took a hit. Then the hockey. You know, the hockey take a hit. You know, you go from winning all this to now all the teams are downtown and you got subpar coaches and everything. Stan Van Gundy was up and then they came down to Detroit. He was terrible, right? He was a bad drafter, bad coach. Now he's an analysis. Some of these guys shouldn't even have a job, right? If it's anybody else, why don't you treat them like, you treat other people, they don't have a job. Like, these guys were bad, really. But then when they traded Stafford and they brought in this man, now a lot of people love the coach. I'm not mad at the coach at all. But that GM, that's got to be the best. That's the best GM this football team city has ever had. And I'm talking about he came in here, and in 3 years, you 5-1. Now you got more talent on the field than you've ever seen. So I'm going to give it up to Brad Holmes, right? The GM, really, the guy that helps select the players that play for the team and the system, has to have a certain ingredients. Brad Holmes, that brother got ingredients, and he understands, and he communicates well, and he makes sure that the coach has his type of guys, and they're on the same page. And they walking around here barking and fired up. You know, yesterday after they beat Tampa, Brad Holmes was on the sideline of the Tampa Bay with the Lions fans again. And so I'm telling you that this guy has done some incredible things. So everybody's screaming. So we trade, and then when they brought in Goff, and I remember, I'm saying this because I said this. I said everybody was screaming Jared Goff was a bum, right? I said Jared Goff is a winner. It's like, Cal, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, I'm telling you. Now, as bad as y'all went, the boy didn't have no time on the offensive line in L.A., and they was rushing and trying to shortcut every way they could. So they traded for Stafford. They won a Super Bowl. Right? Stafford's still a good quarterback. But look at the difference of where when you traded this guy and what you got for him and what Brad Holmes was been able to do. So essentially this trade for Stafford was just as big as the trade for Herschel Walker that Dallas did when they traded away Herschel Walker and they got all those players and Dallas ended up in the Super Bowl. Now I'm not saying these guys are going to the Super Bowl. I don't see that, right? I see a lot of talent. I see a lot of victories, but Super Bowls, you got to have some moxie. It's a different type of environment that your team had. Now, they can develop it as they win, but you got to have moxie consistently for championship teams. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't. Like, I have never really bought into teams until I met Patrick Mahomes, right? And so Patrick Mahomes has been the first championship T-shirt in football I ever bought in my life. That's a bad man over there in Kansas City, right? And so on the backside, here we are, the Lions. And I'm telling you, it has brought families together. So like sports, right? Many times sports is the one thing that will bring your family together. But now with winning, the Lions, the community, the area is prime to come together. This is what I've been trying to say all along, even in schools. Your school environments are centered, even in college. School environments in college is predicated on winning. If you win, you bring a certain revenue atmosphere to the program. Sometimes people select colleges to attend because they win. It's that simple. So with this environment now around the Lions, families are coming together. And I'm telling you because here's what happened. You got so tired of them losing, right? Nobody called you on Sunday. Nobody was like, come on over, we sitting over here with the Lion fans, right? So the Lion people, they down at the tailgate, the funniest, the most fun that they're having. They not even watching the game, you know what I mean? They at the tailgate. But then when you start winning, the tailgate, people sharing food, right? People sharing stories of winning. They got their kids out there. They're introducing their kids to the different people. Businesses is connecting. People are connecting businesses together. Here's the thing about sports and family that people miss, and this is a big one. This is a really, really big one, right? When LeBron James went back to Cleveland, he turned this one man now. When he went back to Cleveland, he turned downtown Cleveland, right, into $1 billion industry. Not only that, this is when he really knew his value. Cleveland was only worth like $400,000. As soon as he walked back in the door, the price for the Cleveland Cavaliers jumped to $1 billion. They owe that man. You see? But we like to look at things just in terms of the sports thing, right? It's family. When your nephew or your cousin is playing on a winning football team, who's at the game? Family. If he's losing, ain't nobody got time for that. You see what I'm saying? Who you play for? Oh, he played for, back in the day for us, it was the Hazel Park Vikings. You can guarantee it was a loss. How many people at the game? 5. You see what I'm saying? Who coming to see that? You gonna blow them out. Back in the day when I was in high school, after I got out of high school, there were teams at Ferndale that was horrible, right? Didn't have a lot of fans, right? But as soon as you get a winner in there, suddenly, you know, the people show up, the concession stand go up, the prices go up, right? People start buying food, people there for the excitement. So sports and family is synonymous with winning. And we like to think that somehow, let's just take Michigan played Indiana this weekend. If you were watching the game, the Indiana fans and stands was full of Michigan fans. The stands for Indiana, they didn't have that many people. So Indiana probably make, on the revenue side, more money because they're a loser. But when Michigan come into town, right, or Ohio State, or one of those big fan-based family environments come into town, their concession stands gonna make a lot of money. TV. How do I sign this deal? Well, I'm not signing this deal. You're not going to see the Rutgers on TV 9 times in a year. You're going to see the Michigan on TV 9 times. You're going to see Ohio State on TV 10 times. Alabama 9, 10 times. Right? You're going to see those teams. Why? Because they win, the revenue jump, the attendance go up, the views go up. All of that is predicated, the same thing, on family. See? So sports and family is synonymous, right? So let's go to the Lions, right? Here's the thing that I've been saying. I'm not a big, and I don't have to be, I'm not a big Dan Campbell fan, but once Dan Campbell stopped gambling on them 4th downs, he turns into a better coach. So they don't have to lose them games. Now, it's cool that you gamble, but you do it at the right time so you don't lose momentum. A lot of these teams gambling, you saw Oregon lose the ball game this weekend because everybody is into gambling on this 4th down all of a sudden. You know what, I'm going to take the 4th down, right? But every time you don't make that 4th down, that momentum switches to the other team. So when Oregon didn't take the 2 field goals, to me, that's what cost him the game. Because then he ended up losing the game by 3 points. But he take them 2 field goals, he still got momentum. See, I got this field goal, I take that field goal, I'm still chopping at your head. But when I don't take those field goals, my team loses momentum. So when I don't make it, the other team catches the momentum, and now they think they got a chance. So at the same time, people on the sidelines, people in the stands, hey, they're like, yeah, way to go. And I'm like, no, stop handing momentum to the other team because you're going to lose. You can lose that way. Now, if it's 4th down, I'm on the 30, they're 30, in 1 yard, yeah, I'm going for it. You know what I mean? Because I didn't got to your 30. So I'm dangerous that way. But on my 30, am I going for the 4th and 1 just to say that I got kahunas? Hell no. Because I'm not going to give you, my defense ain't that good. But since he stopped that, the defense has been able to get better. And now they can make stops. And now they have the confidence that they have. And so they're not put in these positions of failure. But you hand them that ball, you done lost the momentum. Hey, y'all go out there, y'all got to hold them to a field goal there at the 30. The other team walk out like, man, I only got 30 yards to get a touchdown? So that's different. But again, sports. The sports, flat out, right? That's right, Mike. You ain't got to gamble. Gamble when you're on the other side, not on your own side, right? And so when you see that, But then you see the talent. Right now, they should be 6-0 in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't supposed to lose to Seattle, but them 3-4 gambles on the fourth down gave Seattle momentum to win. And then you see Seattle, they taking lumps because they really wasn't that good in my opinion. But then, as we talking sports, right? We're talking sports. I'm saying, for real, that what we have in our backyard is more talent than I've ever seen on a Detroit Lions football field. And I can take you through the drafts. I can take you through the whole nine. But guess what you have? You have family atmosphere. Every time they stick a microphone in front of them Detroit Lions faces, you hear them talk about family. Every time you stick a microphone in front of one of them Detroit Lions, you hear culture. Every time you stick a microphone in front of them Detroit Lions, you hear optimism. Every time you stick a microphone in more than one or two of them, is yeah, bro, yeah, you got this, is encouragement. So what has happened is the environment has shifted from the work, and that's the one credit Dan Campbell has brought to that team. This team is going to work. And I do give credit right there for sure that when people talk about grit, I'm talking about they got that funk when it comes to working together. Like, you don't see them beefing. If one guy missed, the guy's making up. If a guy get beat, everybody running over to him and tell, we got the next play. And offensively, what you are seeing is nobody is jealous of the next person touching that rock because everybody's touching that rock. Yesterday, 11 different receivers caught a ball. This is the epitome of team, right? And teams are made from families. Unity is made from families. If you are an individual, you are not going to be in that locker room. They have let it be known that they are a family. And they let it be known through their conversations that they come from family. So it's a simple ingredient to the success of unity, loyalty, hard work. This is what this team is showing. Now, this next game they got is Baltimore. I know my cousin, Alfonso May. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Right? You can call in if you like. What's the number? If you put up the number, 266-2811. Mike, you can call in. We can have this conversation. 313-266-2811. We most definitely, anything you'd like to say about this conversation in Alliance, everything here on Put Your Family First is about family, so you are welcome to chime in, family. But I'm telling you that this team has the ability. I just can't say Super Bowl because I still see what's happening over in Kansas City, and I don't think Kansas City has no way of letting up. I'm talking about they winning with half a leg, one finger. Like, they still winning through the biggest of obstacles. They're young on the defensive side. They're right there in the top 10 defense. So it's kind of hard to push because they got that quarterback and that tight end and them multiple backs they got, and they teaching the other young wide receivers. Like, they are building right in your face another run with young players, and that's hard to ignore. So again, with the Lions, what I like is, first of all, I wanted Campbell. Right? One of the guys that played with Campbell used to be supportive in our mentoring program. He caught on as a free agent at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, his mom, as I said, that, for us not to communicate with him. Hilarious, but hey, fine. The other part is his linebacker teammate, Campbell. I wanted Campbell. Why? Because Campbell, we never had a 6'5" linebacker. that could run and make plays. We never had, right? I mean, we had some back in the day that they just made pass rushers, but this one, he could play pass rush, he can cover, right? He hit, you know, he got the leadership piece. So I really wanted him. I didn't see the Jerry pick, but when I went and did the investigation, you could see the speed, the combination, the whole nine. But the Branch pick, when they got that boy out of Alabama, because here I am, I'm a draft guy. So I watched the draft just to be drafting. Years ago, I used to get in the newspaper, Monique, and I'd be in the draft and really be picking players for different teams and stuff like that. So a lot of people don't know, but I really like the draft. Let me see where this kid going, that kid going, right? So I kind of know a lot about a lot of players because I'm always taking in this information. I don't know where I get this from, but I like to, partake in the draft. And so for the Lions, like J-Mo, I called that. We was watching Alabama. I said, the Lions going to pick up J-Mo. I said, that's who the Lions need right there. We going to get that boy, right? And your girl was like, you think so? I said, yeah, oh yeah. He looked like he going to be perfect. We need him to fall right to us. Well, guess what? He fell right to us. And she was like, wow, I cannot believe that you was able to call. I said, oh yeah. I said, because I'm really into this process. And so, and I kind of know athletes from coaching, the whole nine. So I pretty much in my day, I could teach a duck to become an eagle. You know what I mean? So that's just the way it is. That's why another reason why I mentor. Right. I understand. A lot of people didn't, but I had him. Because he was one of the winningest quarterbacks, Mike. The one thing that he had on his side was when you went and looked at his record when he came to the Lions, he beat a lot of teams. And at the crib in L.A., he was undefeated against Kansas City. So him going into Kansas City and winning was not a surprise, right? But I said the process is can we protect him, right? Can we get him what he needs, the tools? And they were able to get him some tools, right? And that's how he's, and again, you're talking, if you're watching the locker rooms, this kid, he built like a piece of paper. You know what I mean? He don't have a whole lot of muscle. He don't have the, muscles coming on his eyelids. He don't have the neck. You know what I mean? He looked like he one hit away from failure. You know what I mean? He don't have the best build, but he know that game. And the fact that he know the game and has gotten comfortable in knowing the game, a lot of people, with more wins, you get more experience, and more experience, you get a little more moxie. And right now, no matter what, even like yesterday, the tight end, the boy out of Iowa, didn't see that pick coming. But when we got 4, and we ended up them four players on the field, and the tight end, he come from tight end U, which is Iowa, right? So like my guy, I was trying to get them on the phone, but he ended up in Kentucky. So Kamari is at Kentucky. And I'm saying Kentucky is making a mistake, and it's just me. Kamari should be involved in their offense, right? They got him out there, but they're not throwing to him yet. They not, that type of thing. And he should be. They should be right along parallel, with the boy out of Georgia. Like Kamari can go, right? This is they got a real All-American, right? Yeah, I like him too. Yep, CB, yes sir. That's big, and so when we get into the Lions even further, second year players, third year, like everything is happening. So they swagged out. You know what I mean? Defensively, even when they was doing bad, they still was swagged out. Offensively, top 5 by the end of the year. And they got everything. They got 2-3 tight ends. They got backup linemen. They ran a guy yesterday that they brought back on the humble, but I thought he should have never been out of out of the equation. He should have been there. I thought Reynolds ran the ball very well for the Lions last year in a number of areas. So him being out there and making plays and blocking, those are the types of players that help you get over the hump to win a certain amount of championships. Now, can we maintain that? And again, sports and family. So if you want to call in, you can call in. We can have this conversation. Again, I'm plugging the apparel. Get your win as one Detroit. Hey, Mike, check this out right here. You can scoop you one right up, right over here. You can come scoop it up. Get you a win as one Detroit. It's powerful. You get it in the Lions. We got it in black, and we got it in red, and the white one is crispy. But some people already done snatched them up. Anyway, yeah, of course. The Lions cornerback, which one, right? You know what I mean? When Mosley hurt, they got somebody to back it up. You got the boy from Pittsburgh, phenomenal, right? Sutton. Last year, I watched Sutton put some plays down where they thought he's not quite as tough, and then toward the end of the year in Pittsburgh, he went to land that wood. And so you're talking about Sutton. Then you talk about, like I said, I'm in love with Branch. Branch, this is a selfish message here. My son wasn't quite as fast as Brant, but I put my son, two-man, in that category. He could play downhill. He could play safety. He can come up, approach the line. That's how he played when he was in high school. He was a bad boy. He just was in the wrong hands. The people, but he was a bad boy when it comes to that football. And Branch reminds me a lot. Branch makes plays when nobody else is making plays. I'm talking about in the Kansas City game before he got the pick off. For sure. I agree with that. Need improvement at the cornerback, for sure, Mike. But Branch, when he came up, right, he had made it, before he got the interception, he had made a shoestring tackle that was so scandalous. Like, people was like, totally missed it. I'm like, it was like he was under the pile and grabbed my man's foot and pulled him down. And I was like, oh, you don't see that. You don't see that often. Here he is, come through out of nowhere, and he just grabbed and snatched. And I was on the phone with my son. I say, see, there you go. That's a play that you can't. And he was, mind you, when he come back, arguably defensive player of the year. It's going to be hard for you to hold him up because he makes so many plays. As a rookie, he is experienced and everything, but just before that interception, that's what I was saying. I was like, dude, this guy is phenomenal. He everywhere. And I'm talking about he cleaning up plays, right? And so, okay. I'm over here at, I'm going to put it in there for you, brother. You can come get it. And you can hit me 18,000 West 9 Mile. Right. Here we go. Sweet. Yeah. Inbox me and let me know when you're coming. I'm going to mentoring after this. So we got mentoring at New St. Paul. So I say all that to say, because the Lions is right there. There are some other teams. Miami can be beat. I think so. San Francisco, I don't think, between San Francisco and Philadelphia, they don't use enough of their weapons. They don't have balance. They throw too much to AJ, right? And then they just become obvious with Smith. I thought they should have lost before now. And San Francisco, until the last game where Kittles had 3 touchdowns, if they kept the same formula that they was doing, they just kept giving the ball to the running back and making him you got too much talent on the field and you don't use them, and so you make yourself one-dimensional. And that's why I think between San Francisco and Philly, those two could easily be in the Super Bowl, but they don't have balance, in my opinion. I think they're going to knock each other off, right? Because both coordinators, the one thing about San Francisco coordinator, he good. He can get you there, but I don't think he, really can finish like that. And they lost they lost in the Super Bowl because of that very thing. And I think if going into the playoffs, no matter how we look at it, I think they're in trouble. That's just my opinion. And Philadelphia has to get back to balance or they will not be a threat. A team that has balance can beat both those teams. Thank you, Mike. Just to come down the pipe, like the Lions play the Ravens next Sunday at 1:00. I personally think they should move that game to a late night game, right? Why? One, nobody had more viewership than the Lions. If you move that game to the night game, NBC gonna benefit across the board. They had their highest viewership when the Lions played Kansas City, right? So if you move that game to a night game, Baltimore, you also find out who really coming with the funk, right? So Baltimore love to hit. They love to hit. They'll catch you on the sideline and knock your mama out, right? Mm-hmm. But this Baltimore team with that quarterback, I just believe that Baltimore is just one-dimensional. I don't think they have necessarily a whole lot of balance. I think he runs too much when he should be passing, and I think he picks and chooses who he, going to throw to out of desperation. And so I think that when the Lions come into Baltimore, because they're going to Baltimore, I think it's going down. And I think what's happening with the Lions is, we saw in this last game, Tracy Walker went to laying some wood out there, right? Cam Sutton is going to start laying some wood, right? You bring Branch back in the picture. So you're going to kind of have some wood layers out there that can ignite your team on the other side, on the defensive side of the ball, which now I can match you wheel for wheel. They got Baltimore to win. I'm taking Jared Goff. I might even move Jared Goff into the starting position on my fantasy team because he's on my bench for this game in particular, because I think Jared Goff is on fire. And I think he's showing that more and more and more as this team go forward. Other than that, again, I say and I share sincere support for the Lions. I'm trying to get to the Lions players so they can get them a win as one. I usually get to who I need to get to, so I don't see that being a problem. We're going to make that happen. And that. So, on the last piece, this is Put Your Family First podcast, right? And so I'm going to share this piece about family, why it's so important and what winning and coming together does. It takes off the tension in the community for periods of time where people can come together as one, right? So family, now you getting the calls. Where you watching the game at? Who barbecuing? Right? You can come over here, man. We got barbecue, beers, and bacon. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? People getting together. Hey, where you watching the game at? I'm watching it over here. Come on through, So you're starting to see some camaraderie around family. Awesome. That's awesome. You're starting to see some camaraderie around family. And that is what our communities and our area needed, right? So, you know how it can be flying back in Detroit, you suddenly get sad. With a winner, you feeling pretty good about having on your Lions gear. You feeling pretty good about rocking those colors. You must be a Lion fan. That's what the guy said to me. Me and my son went to breakfast yesterday. He said, oh, you must be a Lions fan because I had on my win as one. And I said, brother, this is some gear. You know what I mean? Let me introduce you to who you're talking to. And so him and his wife was sitting there, and I'm showing him and say, here, you can get this at the website. Here's the work. Mm-hmm. I said, but it's more to, what you're saying, right? I'm sincere about bringing our communities and our cultures together because I think we are overdue. I think family has to become, in this area, in the city, right, to combat the gang mindsets and everything else. I think your family has to become your gang, right? And I believe that is such an important piece, right, to how we see life. Family If you put your family first, that's reading, writing, listening, loving, praying. You put your family first. You have to understand what is needed, right? Your child has to be able to compete in education, jobs, the whole nine. You cannot withhold putting your children first and preparing. If me and you are beefing, if the mother and the father is beefing, the system is eating your children. As long as the mother and father is beefing, the system gains access to your children. So now your children literally are in the system. And this is what the system wants. Starve the system is the move. Let's communicate as parents better for the success of the child, not this my child or this your child. This is our child that we must raise and give back. God only allows us to have children to prepare them for their goals and their dreams and their aspirations. He doesn't allow for us to hold on to our children. Of course, you can build a legacy, but the acknowledgement is make sure you're raising healthy adults. With that being said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for chiming in, brother. Thank you all for chiming in. Those of you who have, appreciate you. And Mike, don't forget to inbox me to get your hoodie. But other than that, hey, today has been great. I just wanted to talk sports and family. We did that. I got to get ready to go work with some families at our mentoring program. But I just got to tell you, no matter what you say and do, no matter what it is, no matter where you are, right? You got to remember to put your family first. Peace.